All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Raiders Daily. My name is Jackson. I post daily Raiders content, so be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button if you enjoy it. Here we have a tweet because we have fresh Josh Jacobs news. This is from Tom Pelissero. The Raiders plan to place the franchise tag on star running back Josh Jacobs if the sides don't reach a deal by Tuesday's deadline, per sources. The NFL's leading rusher last season, Jacobs is viewed as a part of the future in Las Vegas. And that is a pretty funny, kind of ironic way to phrase it is, well, the Lakers are interested in Josh Jacobs as a long-term piece, but they might franchise tag him. Now, I do think, unfortunately, that is in their best interest. You got to keep in mind, why didn't we pick up his fifth-year option last year? Right? Why are we even in this situation to begin with? Well, you got to keep in mind, if you go back to Josh Jacobs' first 3 years in the NFL, he battled injuries at a lot of different points. All right. He was coming off a season where he averaged just 4 yards per carry. It's not like that's some desperate, horrible number, but in that season, he only had 217 total rushing yards 217 total attempts for 872 total rushing yards. That was by far his worst year in the league after 4 years. Now, this year was completely different. You could argue, and it's actually not even an argument, he was the Raiders' best player, especially on the offensive side. There's definitely no debate to that. You could argue Max Crosby in general, but I think it was Josh Jacobs. He had just an all-pro season, a Pro Bowl appearance. He rushed for 1,653 yards. He had 12 touchdowns. He averaged 4.9 yards per carry. He had a career high in receiving yards as well with 400. He had, in general, at the end of the day, 2,053 yards from scrimmage. So Josh Jacobs had a stellar year. All right. He had a stellar year. The reason, and by the way, the franchise tag is going to be placed at $10.09 million for this upcoming season if it does happen. And I do think it will. I don't think they're going to reach a long-term agreement. Keep in mind, the Raiders have only used the franchise tag on 5 players in the history of the franchise. So the reason I think that the franchise tag makes a lot of sense for the Raiders standpoint is, keep in mind, it's a business. Now, it's easy to look back in retrospect and be like, all right, last season we probably should have extended Josh Jacobs rather than Hunter Renfrow. No disrespect to Hunter, but, Josh Jacobs, that probably just would have worked out better. All right. Now, it's looking more and more. I actually saw like Aaron Rodgers' new team, the Vegas odds were the Raiders were the favorite. If you were to get a trade from the Packers, the Raiders were the favorite, and it wasn't even really that close. But the reason I like this move so much is because you franchise tag him, and I know Josh Jacobs has said some comments about if it were to happen, but he's got to understand it. We've all got to understand it. Dave Ziegler, it's a business. It's a business. So you got to make certain decisions, and this is just one of them. If we have a rookie quarterback next year, keep in mind, the offensive line was, I believe, in total ranked 12th. So solid offensive line. It's only going to improve throughout the draft and free agency. I wouldn't be surprised if they were to go out and make a big-time move like sign right tackle from San Francisco, Mike McGlinchey. But you have a sturdy, solid enough offensive line. You have the best wide receiver in the National Football League in Davante Adams. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you have a fully healthy Hunter Renfrow and also a fully healthy tight end in Darren Waller. So the offense is loaded. All right, the offense is completely loaded. Now, you could say, like, all right, well, the offense is so loaded, we should be using the money that we're going to use to franchise tag him and put it into the defense. Well, the good news is the Raiders, financially, they're going to have like $50 million in cap space. They have money to spend. All right, I don't think they're going to go out there and break the bank, but they have plenty of money to spend. And in the draft, there are NFL-ready guys who are going to come in and be day one starters, and they're going to take full advantage of the draft and guys in free agency like James Bradbury. We've talked Byron Murphy. We've talked several players, and we're going to continue to do that on this channel. So hit that sub button once again. But if you have a rookie quarterback with all these threats, it only makes sense to pair him with one of, if not the best running back in the National Football League as of right now in Josh Jacobs. It's going to ease the burden off your QB, even if it's not a rookie QB, even if it's Jarrett Stidham or Jacoby Brissett, or hopefully not Mac Jones, but hopefully not Jimmy G, but one of those veteran QBs as well. Just eases the burden off of your quarterback. And the good news is, they could, if he has another good year, like if he has another career type of season like last year, he emulates the same statistics, the same impact as he did this season in 2022. Well, you can extend him, you can sign him to a contract. I'm thinking 3 to 4 years. Now, it just puts the Raiders in a looser situation. I'm Like I said, we've passed the time where signing him to a 4-year contract before the season started would make as much sense. You look at guys across the league who had incredible seasons in their rookie contract and signed these long-term extensions. Ezekiel Elliott, like the Cowboys are probably going to cut him. Zeke had one good season right after he signed his rookie extension, and then after that, it's just been steadily downhill. You could look at Alvin Kamara. I'm not saying all running backs are expendable, because when you have these guys like Zeke at that time, Kamara at that time, Josh Jacobs right now, Saquon Barkley, when you have these franchise type running backs, you want to hold on to them. But I also want to see a little bit more of Josh Jacobs. And it's not like he doesn't necessarily fit the timeline, because we just traded 2 critical draft picks in the first and second round for Mr. Devontae Adams. So this offense is built to win right now. But the Raiders draft picks at the running back position in last year's draft did not work at all. I was really hopeful. I was really high on Zamir White. The good news is this year's running back draft class is exponentially deeper than last year's. There's like, some people are saying there's like 8 to 10 day one capable starters ready to go in this draft. And probably only one of them, Bijan Robinson, is going to go in the first round. So you can still get an NFL ready running back in the later rounds, 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round, whatever. So there's plenty of options. And I just like having options when regards to Josh Jacobs and specifically the running back position. But once again, if he has a stellar season and he absolutely, is exactly what he was last season, and they extend him, all right, perfect. If he is still a good running back, still getting the job done, somewhere between 1,000 yards and 1,200 total yards, well, hopefully you drafted his replacement like they probably planned on doing in last year's draft, and you're ready to go for the season after this. Now, just regardless, however you want to put it, I think it is skewing a little bit more like 60 to 40%. I would say 60% leaning towards one season from now, Josh Jacobs will not be on the Las Vegas Raiders, and it sucks. But if he has another dominant season, they'll probably bring him back. So let me know what you guys are thinking about this Josh Jacobs situation. As always, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily Raiders content, and I will see you guys later.